Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to start a new chapter of civics section, that is chapter number 2. And the name of the chapter is Institutional Representation of Democracy. Representation and participation are the cornerstone of representative democracy. At the heart of the system is a commitment to hold regular, free, and fair elections. People participate through elections and select the representatives to govern them. The representation comes from the political parties who, with their various ideologies, fight the elections. The elected party forms the government, while the next in the majority forms the opposition, with which checks every steps of the government. So, my dear students, universal adult franchise, elections, political parties, and coalition governments are some terms you are already familiar with. These are the institutions that represent democracy. Now, let us delve into the whole process. So, starting with, we are going to discuss about the universal adult franchise. Universal adult franchise is given to all the Indian citizens who have attained the age of 18 years. Our Article 325 of the Constitution provides that no citizen of India shall be debarred from the inclusion in the voters list on the basis of religion, caste, race, or sex, and the Article 326 provide adult suffrages. Although universal adult franchise is constitutionally adopted in India, the person have not been granted the right to vote or contest elections because of some reasons. The people who are avoided are, number one, the people who are not mentally stable. If you're not mentally stable, how can you vote? So, people who are not mentally stable cannot enjoy the right to vote, and hardened criminals who have been convicted by the court are also not eligible to vote. So, we can say it grants equality to all the citizens at all the levels. It is a very powerful weapon for each and every citizen residing in a country which protects our rights and freedom. It plays very important role in the education of the political system. As I already said, that we the common people elect our own representatives at regular intervals and change them if required. It helps in strengthening the national unity. People belonging to different caste, religion, and communities are given equal right to vote. So we can see a national unity among each one of them. No matter what is the caste, what is the language we speak, which region we belong to, nothing is important in this particular act. Okay. Due to universal adult franchise, there is a little possibility of violent revolts in the country because people can change the government through the constitutional means if required. One example given in your textbook is in 1977, people replaced the Congress government by the Janata government at the center, and in 1980, toppled the Janata government and again restored the Congress government. So, universal adult franchise makes India the biggest democratic country in the world, and it has also created a sense of self pride and patriotism among the people. Now, the next topic is elections. Elections play a very important role in formation of modern representative democratic government. We can say it is a contest between various political parties. And who will rule the country? The party that gets the maximum representation, or we can say the maximum number of seats, forms the government. In a democracy, election takes place periodically, or we can say election in India takes place every 5 years by a universal adult franchise. These elections are held to choose and elect representatives who will form the government. The representatives that form the government are elected at the center, state, and the local levels. The Election Commission of India is responsible for conducting free and fair elections in India. The Election Commission consists a chief election commissioner and two election commissioners. Election are like two types, direct and indirect. What is direct election? It is when all the voters vote their representatives, for example the members of the parliament directly elected by the voters in India. And what is indirect elections? Is that it is when the elected representatives votes on the behalf of the voters. For example, the president is not elected by the voters in India, but they are the representatives chosen by them. Understood? Main types of elections. There are three main types of elections in our country. General elections, which are held after the expiry of the regular term of Lok Sabha or the state legislative assembly. It has been held at an interval of 5 years. Second is mid-term elections. Mid-term elections are held as a consequences of the dissolution of Lok Sabha or the state legislative assembly before the expiry of its term of 5 years. And the third one is by-election. If a representative dies before the completion, that means the tenure is not finished, but if the main representative dies and the seat cannot be kept vacant, so at that particular moment the election has to be held to fill that vacant seat. So these type of elections are known as by-elections. Now after this, talking about the election procedure, how is the full election procedure being held in a country? There must be a specific procedure to conduct elections, isn't it? So what is the procedure in our country? It has many stages. Like first talking about the election constituencies are being fixed. That means for the purpose of elections to Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly, the whole country is divided into almost equally populated areas, which you can call as constituencies. Understood? So first constituencies are being formed. The second one will be the preparation of electoral rolls. It is the second stage of this process, and our article 325 of our Indian constitution provides for preparing the general electoral roll for all constituencies before elections. It is being revised before every general elections. The names of the new voters are included in the voters list, and the one who have left the constituencies or have expired are deleted. Nowadays we know we have many cards like Aadhaar cards, we have election cards, voter identity cards, we all have in our country. Understood? Which includes our photo and the name of the voter. Now third stage is the announcement of election dates. Once the constituency has been formed, the electoral rolls are being prepared, the third stage will be the announcement of the election dates. They declared a particular date on which the election has to be held, and it is being done by the election commission. Understood? So before announcing the election dates, the election commission generally holds the consultation with the central government and the concerned state governments. It is made by the president and the governor. Now the next stage will be the establishment of the polling stations for the convenience of the voters and to make the electoral system function properly. Numerous polling stations are established in different parts of the constituency. I hope you students are aware of the word polling stations. Polling station means A building where you go to vote in an election, जिसको हिंदी में हम मतदान केंद्र बोलते हैं. Our school is also one of the polling station. In Ashadam we go for the voting purpose, isn't it? So now the next stage is nominations by the candidates. The election commission announced the dates of filing the nomination papers by the candidate and their withdrawal. Nomination papers must be signed by the person who proposes and the person who sends the name, and the name must be on the voting list of the constituency. The next stage is the scrutiny and the withdrawal of the nomination papers. On the fixed date, the nomination papers are scrutinized. Those having some drawbacks are rejected, and the names of the eligible candidates are announced. After the scrutiny of nomination papers, some days are prescribed for the withdrawal of the nomination. The candidates who wish to withdraw the nomination make a written request to the concerned election officers. The election officers returns the security deposit of the concerned candidate, publish the list of the remaining candidates, and allows the election symbols to them. Now, what is meaning of scrutiny? It means a very careful examination. Now the next procedure again is the campaign. After the publications of the list of eligible candidates by the officer, different political parties and the independents launch many campaigns in the support of the candidates. Political parties release their election manifesto. That means declaration of the intention motives. You must have heard many political parties carrying out many campaigns. हम देखते हैं ना टीवी में, रैली निकालते हैं, कैंपेनिंग होता है और बड़े बड़े वादे करते हैं. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट. इन दैट campaigns they release their election manifesto. Now the next procedure will be polling. On the election day, a public holiday is declared so that the voters can go to the polling station and exercise their franchisee. On the basis of the names included in the electoral rolls inside the ballot box, EVMs are installed at the polling station. An EVM consists of a panel with the names of the contesting political parties and their symbols are displayed on it. A voter presses the buttons which is alongside the preferred party and cast his or her vote. And we all know this system is one person and one vote. I can't stand on the EVM machine and I can press 3 or 4 buttons. Understood? I can vote only one person on one political party. After polling comes the point of counting the votes. After the polling is over, the counting personnel who are appointed for returning the officers start counting of votes at the fixed place on the given particular fixed time under the supervision of officer. At the time of counting of votes, the agent appointed by the candidates and the candidates themselves are present at the venue at that particular place. And if they feel any foul play or they can object regarding the counting of the votes, and they can bring that to the notice of the officer. After counting of the votes, what should be the next procedure? What do you think, children? Declaration of the results. After the countdown stops, after the counting of the votes is over, the officers declares the candidate or the party getting the maximum number of votes as the winner and issues a certificate to the effect to the successful candidates. So this was the election process. Understood? I hope it is very clear to all. Now, talking about the political parties, as I said in the election procedure, there are many political parties involved. Each and everyone tries to give their best in their rallies, in their campaigns, in their speech. They try to influence each and every single common people. During elections, they try to convince our common people only. They don't go to the big shots. They capture the attention of middle class people, most probably. Okay. Now, talking about the political parties, you may have heard of examples of now the ruling parties, BJP party, Bharatiya Janata Party. We have heard about Congress Party. So, these are the names. There are many political parties in a country. What is political party? A political party is an organized group of people with common ideology for securing power or contesting elections. Parties follow constitutional procedures to form a government. Now, what is required to form a party? We can say a group of people, an organized group of people with similar ideology, with a common aim, and the method of gaining the political power should be peaceful. Understood? Now, we have national political parties, we have state political parties. Okay, what is the difference between that? The difference is that the national political parties have their influence over the whole country, and the state political party will be limited to the area or the state. National political parties may have unit in overall the country, but the state political parties will have their units in that particular state only. Understood? Now, national political parties will work for the issues of the whole nation. They are not going to work for state or area wise. They are going to work, they give priority to the national issues. But the state political parties, they give importance to the regional issues and try to influence a particular region. Now, talking about the types of party systems. So, political parties are very important because they carry out many functions and they have relationship between and among the parties. Okay, so the network of this relationship is known as party system. The major party system found in the modern democracies are one party system, two party system, multi party system. Now, one party system, as the word itself conveys the message that one party means single party. A single party in the whole country. That means single party is the one which there is only one political party which functions and control the whole government. Two party, again the word gives the complete message that in the country where there are two political parties, the political system is known as two political or bi-party system which contest for power. In this type of system, one party is in power and another will be known as the opposition. Multi-party, in this type of party system, countries will have more than two political parties. Understood? In India also, we have one is the ruling party and we have opposition parties. We have many types of political parties. Now, talking about the functions of political parties. What are the functions of political parties? I'm not talking about ruling party or opposition party. I'm talking about the whole and soul. N numbers of political parties. They are there to compete with one another, to contest elections. Okay. The second function we can say form and run the government. First of all, they have to contest the election and then the party which wins, which gets the certificate from the commission, will form and run the government. So the majority seats gained by the party will get the chance to form the government. And after forming government, they introduce many economic and social schemes to boost their popularity. The ruling party conveys the policy and programs of government to the people and in turn conveys the problem of people to the government. On other hand, the opposition party makes aware the weakness. That means the opposition party is ready to uh, uh, talk about the loopholes of the ruling party. Understood? The political parties tries to impact political education among the people so that the people can come to know about the major issues through them. And common people generally don't take interest in political problems. It is the political parties which put forward these problems to the people and create political awakening among them. Now students, as I said, which party you will call as a ruling party? The party which is elected by the majority, the party which gets the majority seats in the parliament is called the ruling or the governing party, because that particular party is going to form the government, so it can be called as the governing party. In our democracy, it is we the common people who can choose our government by exercising our right to vote. We elect our representative and these representatives win the elections, getting the majority of the seats, and they are asked to form the government. The leader of the majority party heads the legislature and he elects other ministers as the cabinet ministers and the ministers of council. Now, what is the role of the ruling party? Now, BJP is the ruling party in our country, we all know. So, what is the role of that party? The head of the ruling party advises the executive and the cabinets. All the major decisions and the appointments are made by the head of the government, and the bodies like Union Cabinet, the Planning Commission, and the Cabinet Committees functions under his supervision. The legislative head serves as a link between the executive and the cabinet, as he communicates the decision of the councils of ministers to the president or the governor. The head of the ruling party is also known as chairman of extra constitutional advisory body. Now, this was about ruling party. Now come talking about the opposition party. As I said, opposition party is, it plays a very important role in the democratic country like our India. It checks whether the ruling party is misusing the power given to them, so that it cannot work like a dictator. It is always ready to check the loopholes of the ruling party. It tries to control the power. Opposition party always tries to form a public opinion in their favor. There is a competition between the ruling party and the opposition party. Opposition party always tries to criticize the ruling party and point out the weakness of the ruling party, so that they can have their they can influence the people to have their opinion, which, and they are convinced with the opposition party. And if they fail to mold public opinion, the ruling party will continue to enjoy the support of the people with their policies and the programs. The opposition party make the people aware of the wrongdoing in the government. It serves as the spokesperson for the grievance of the people from time to time and convey them to the government. They pressurize the government to be accountable towards the needs of the people. For this purpose, they use different platforms within and outside the legislature. They actively participate in the processions, get articles published in the newspaper, do stage plays, etc. Now, the last topic of the lesson is coalition government. What is coalition government? Coalition government is actually a group of advisors formed when different political parties unite in the supervision and regulation of our country. We can refer it as a alliance between different political parties to run the government. We can also call it as a temporary association, which is formed when no single political party gains a clear majority and as a substitute competing parties negotiate to work together. Such situations usually happens during crisis period, like we can say war or political breakdown. They often have mutually agreed agenda on the basis of which they try to resolve their conflicts. They follow the democratic principles of common agenda as well as seat sharing based on the strength of their political representation in the legislative assembly. Members of all the parties in a coalition government are appointed to a cabinet based on group of parties that command a majority in the parliament tend to be more stable and long lived than the minority cabinets. While the former are prone to internal struggles, they have less reasons to fear votes of no confidence. Majority government based on a single party are typically even more stable as long as the majority can be maintained. In our country, we can say the very first every successful coalition administration that completed entire 5-year term was 1999 to 2004 was the Bharatiya Janata Party, led the National Democratic Alliance with Atal Bihari Vajpayee as the president. There is one more talked about a coalition Congress led United Progressive Alliance UPA consisting of 13 separate parties ruled from 2004 to 2014, two terms with Manmohan Singh as Prime Minister. Many such examples are given in your textbook, so you can go through it, go through the whole lesson, read it, try to understand it. The answers will be given in your WhatsApp group. Complete it in your notebook. This was all for this lesson. Thank you so much.